Friday. I'm here with a legislative update. The 2021 Maryland General Assembly has officially kicked off, and despite the changes and challenges brought on by COVID-19, we are ready to put in the work. In my last newsletter, I updated everyone on my legislation that I was sponsoring for this session. And I have a few quick updates on that, on this part too. I am happy to announce that I am submitting legislation to allow for faculty to collectively bargain at the Community College of Baltimore County. As an educator, myself and union advocate, allowing faculty to enter into collective bargaining is highly important. And I'm so proud to stand with our fellow educators and unions. I have also cross-filed two pieces of legislation submitted in the Senate by my colleagues across the aisle. Senator Chris West from Baltimore County. First is Senate Bill 38. Let me talk a little bit about the bill. This bill would make it so members of the liquor board in Baltimore County reside in Baltimore County. Very simple bill and very common sense bill. This type of legislation exists in many jurisdictions across our state and is sensible legislation. Lastly, I have cross-filed Senate Bill 237, which would see the police reform legislation passed by the Baltimore County Council last year, enacted statewide. And I strongly feel that we need more. However, we have to start from somewhere. And I believe this is a good point to start. This is mostly common sense legislation, which would bar chokeholds, and it requires body cameras for all jurisdiction and things of that nature. It would also return control of the Baltimore City Police Department to the Baltimore City Mayor and the City Council. Again, this bill would return control of the Baltimore City Police Department to the Baltimore City Mayor and City Council. The fact that the state has had control of the Baltimore Police Department is the reminiscence of a bygone time when there was concern the Know-Nothing Party would take control of the BPD. But that was about 160 years ago. It is high time we return control of the Baltimore City Police to the people of Baltimore. That is very important. And I have some update on veto overrides. I would like to first thank everyone, my constituents, and the citizens of Maryland who has submitted their thoughts and opinions on vetoes. I want to stress that all of your concerns are taken to heart and considered while making decisions like this. And I do respect each of your opinion. As of now, I would like to state that I will be voting to override Governor Hogan's veto of the blueprint for Maryland future, as well as the veto of prescription drug affordability board. That this was a bill I was so proud of. This bill came to my committee, and thank you everyone in the Health and Government Operations Committee for great work. And I'm really proud of this bill. While tough fiscal decisions will need to be made, I cannot, in good conscience, make cuts at the expense of our children's education. That is very important. I am an educator and a father of students, and I simply cannot allow this veto to stand. The recommendation made by the Kerwin Committee will actually revolutionize education in our state for the better, which should be number one. On top of that, it has already been funded. Some of you who are concerned, oh, we don't have money type of thing, I understand. It has already been funded for 3 years. We have money. Last year, I've defended this legislation on the floor of the House. And I will defend it once again with the veto override. And this is again the investment on our children, and they are our future. And in a long run, there will be the economic gain for our state as well. Likewise, I will vote to override the Prescription Drug Affordability Board veto. The governor vetoed the funding mechanism for the board under the guise of not wanting to raise taxes during the pandemic and economic turmoil. And while that is certainly something to consider, the tax ramifications amount to pennies for our state taxpayers, but the out-of-pocket expenditure, again, out-of-pocket expenditure on prescription drugs will ultimately decrease for many prescription drugs. So the tax increase is ultimately negligible, while the savings will be felt in the pockets for far more, particularly our senior and more vulnerable residents, which is important during this crisis and pandemics. And I will have some updates on Health and Government Operations Committee as well. We officially kicked off committee work in the Health and Government Operations. Committee hearings started. We heard set of bills on Thursday afternoon. These next 2 weeks will largely be about committee work, hearing, and voting on legislation that comes before us. Because of COVID, this is very important, things are a bit different this year. Witness testimony is being capped at 5 people on each side. support side and opposition side. And witnesses must sign up to testify 48 hours. 48 hours. If you see legislation you wish to testify for or against and need help getting signed up, do not hesitate to reach out to my office. All of our sessions are streamed online with the votes taking place on Friday afternoon. And streams for sessions can be found on that Maryland General Assembly. And Baltimore County Delegation update. In the same spirit, Baltimore County Delegation kicked off the year with the procedural meetings on Friday morning today. All of our meetings are streamed on the Baltimore County Facebook page. And these sessions are always worth watching, whether it is discussing local legislation and hearing from local department heads, local government officials. There is always a lot of pertinent information being discussed and is worth viewing. Business health, it is very important for our businesses. In the beginning of this month, Comptroller Peter Francho announced that he was delaying business tax payment for 90 days. For 90 days. The deadline for business taxes and quarterly estimated income tax returns and payment that would be due in the first quarter of the year has been extended to April 15. No interest or penalties will be assessed. And you do not need to apply to take advantage. More information can be found on marylandtaxes.gov. Likewise, Governor Hogan announced earlier this week economic relief for Maryland residents. Included in Governor Hogan's package is direct stimulus to those who qualified for the Earned Income Tax Credit, more tax credits for small businesses, and a repeal of local and state income taxes on unemployment benefits, and extended unemployment tax relief for businesses. I would like to thank both Governor Hogan and Comptroller Francho for their efforts during this time. As always, do not hesitate to reach out with any questions, comments, or concern. My staff and I are here to serve you and will continue to do so throughout the 2021 legislative session. And thank you and have a blessed weekend.